Hi, my name is Jack and congratulations on purchasing your NXR pizza oven. As you become more comfortable using your pizza oven, you'll find that you can cook many different things, from bread to casseroles to smoking meats to even cooking pizza. What I found is the most important thing is getting that fire ready. So for the next couple of minutes, I'd like to show you a process that I've used to get the oven ready for the cooking of your pizza. Before we get started, let's talk about the materials you'll need, not only to start the fire within your wood pizza oven, but you'll need during the pizza cooking process. Absolutely a must is some heavy, heat-resistant gloves. This is a pizza oven. This is stainless steel. It is insulated, but there are areas on the oven that will get warm, and you should never ever use your hands to touch either the door or elements of the pizza oven once it's started. Two other important pieces of equipment: your pizza peel. Obviously, you will use this to put your pizza in the oven and take it back out. Check the bottom to make sure it's cooked properly, but you'll also be able to use this to put your heavier cooking wood into areas of the oven once it's started. There have been times when people will take the hardwood and just throw it into the pizza oven, but you run the risk of cracking the cooking pizza stones, and that obviously will impact the usage of the oven. And then there's the charcoal brush and shovel. You'll be able to use this, and we'll show you a little bit later on how to push the charcoals, the wood charcoals, to the side, away from your cooking area, and then also be able to push them to various different areas depending on what type of heating desire you're looking for with your oven. One thing I found helpful is to purchase a heat laser thermometer. While the oven itself does have a thermometer, that only gives you an indication of what the cavity temperature is. And as you know, when we're going to be cooking our pizza, those stones, will be somewhere between 600 and 800 degrees, and the laser thermometer will give us a very good indication of where that heat source is the best within the stones. There will be times where that may be too hot and you want an area that's maybe 300 degrees. You'll be able to point this laser throughout the stones and give you a much more accurate temperature of what's going on for cooking your pizza than using the thermometer that's built in. Let's talk about your cooking wood just for a minute. Your cooking wood should always be of a hardwood variety: oak, ash, cherry, hickory, or maple, keeping in mind that the type of wood you use will influence some of the taste of the food that you're cooking in it because of the type of smoke that will be generated. It's also important that your wood be very, 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 very dry. You may have heard the terminology of kiln-dried wood. The drier your wood, the less smoke there'll be, and the quicker it will heat up for your cooking process. Before I talk about the wood in my hand, I think it's also very important to remember that you should never use in your pizza oven, under any circumstance, pressure-treated wood, pallet wood, anything that may have been chemically treated so that it will withstand the elements a lot better. Those woods, as I said, are infused with various different chemicals, and when you end up cooking with them, they will release those gases and those poisons, and I would suggest that that's probably not the best way to eat your pizza. No different than an outdoor fire pit or even your indoor fireplace, having kindling wood or starter wood is very, very important to get that cooking wood started within your pizza oven. And last but not least, I've always found that newspaper and a butane lighter will help start the oven. You can use a match or a long match, but I always find that these are just a lot easier. You can lean in a little bit more. Okay, enough pre-talk. Let's start the oven and make a pizza. As you know, fires need oxygen, they need air. So you have to do two things. Obviously, take off the door. And I have always found that I will store wood on the bottom shelf, but the shelf on the second level allows me to put the pizza door there throughout the entire process. This area is called the chimney, no different than on your fireplace in the house, and it has a flue. you want the flue to be open so that you have air coming in from the front of the oven as well as through the flue. When the handle is in the up position, that is closed. You'll want to close that if you're trying to control the heat or stop the heat, or you're doing longer term cooking. But for what we're going to use in pizza, you want the flue open so that you have good airflow to get a really, really robust fire going. Before I build my raft fire, I like taking a large piece of cooking wood and again, very carefully placing it either towards the back left or the back right area of the oven. After our raft creates charcoals, we'll be able to push those hot charcoals out of the cooking area, and by then the wood that's in the oven will be that much drier and keep the heat going for an extended period of time. I mentioned before the term raft. I like calling it, we're going to build a raft of the different types of wood to get our pizza oven started. The first thing I'll do is take a couple of pieces of our cooking wood. In this case, I'm using ash wood. I then like to take a couple of pieces of my paper or newspaper, and then various pieces of my kindling wood and put them across as well. I don't think you can ever use too much kindling wood, especially if your cooking wood is not very dry. You will need to add more kindling wood through the beginning process. Then I'll take two more pieces of my cooking wood and I'll lay them back on top, as so. And then I'll probably take just a couple of extra pieces of newspaper and kind of put those in here, and maybe one more round of kindling wood. Now you will know that I'm starting the raft on the cooking area. This is going to heat up, and it will take about an hour for the wood to turn into coals. And as it's doing, it's cooking and heating up the pizza stone to the temperatures, as I said earlier, which will get up to 600 to 800 degrees, and that's what we want. So before I actually started, I had talked about this brush being able to push the charcoals and almost acts as a shovel. What I'll do is I'll take my raft and I'll just push it back a little bit into the oven, just far enough to where I want the center of the cooking area to be. The only thing left is to light it and then watch it for about an hour. Make sure that it's getting very, very robust. We'll show you pictures of that in a little bit, but let's get her started. So as you can see, we've started the raft. This will start to pick up momentum here in a couple of minutes. And again, I'm leaving the door open. If I were to put the door on, we're going to suffocate the fire. We're not going to get enough oxygen and air to get it going. So it will be a little bit smoky, so I won't stand in front of it for very long. And we'll come back in a couple of minutes and show you how it's doing. It's been just over an hour, and as you can see, we have enough coals going where we can then move this away from the pizza cooking area and we can start cooking our pizza. So I've stretched my dough, I've made my pizza, I made sure I have a fair amount of flour on the pizza peel so the pizza will slide off of the peel onto the cooking area fairly close to where the wood is. With a shaking motion. So this has been approximately 3.5 to 4 minutes. Cheese is melted and a nice crispy crust.